Namaskar, welcome to Honest Astrologer, and today I'm going to discuss one of the most asked questions which I get, which is with regards to Dasha Sandhi, and I have Nishita with me. So Nishita, thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. And let's start. तुम्हारा अपना भी experience रहा है of Dasha Sandhi, so we'll talk about it. Basically, we will focus on the concept of Dasha Sandhi, and we will talk about two of the most difficult Dasha Sandhis a person can go through. Shani to Mercury, and of course Ketu to Shukra.
Hi sir, good to see you again. Sir, thank you so much. आप लोग videos करते हो इतने short notice पे, despite you being happy, like आपका schedule इतना busy होता है, फिर भी you squeeze time from your busy schedule. Thank you so much. Sir, बहुत curiosity है sir ये दशा संधि को लेके, because एक तो ये concept it is very alien to all of us, and secondly, how does it work? We don't know. Can you please give some idea on it, sir?
So, often I get people calling me up, "Ke sab, my Ketu Dasha ended on such and such date, but things have gone worse." Yeah, my Shani Dasha ended on such and such date, and I am in a total mess. Yeah, my Rahu Dasha ended on such and such date. Abhi to I feel like I'm lost. Especially Shani, Rahu, Ketu, these three Mahadashas, anybody who goes through and knows something about them, they count each and every hour. People start celebrating a little too early. Dekho, Dasha Sandhi, what happens is, so Mahadasha Lord is the CEO of your life, okay? You have to follow his command, you will start to look, feel, act and behave like him, right? Ketu Dasha, you wouldn't have been here in a corporate suit. Huh? Would have been here in a very jhalasa salwar suit or some such labada kind of a thing.
जो केतु महादशा का सेकंड वीडियो किया था ना सर, आई वाज विद माय केतु दशी संधि दशा संधि.
So you can see that very clearly. Okay. So what happens is you start to think, look, act and feel like the Mahadasha Lord. You can look at a man, and if you know, you can tell ke iska kaun sa dasha chal. What happens is when one planet is leaving and a new planet is coming, okay, it is like changing the CEO of a business. It is never smooth. So whenever a boss of a department changes, the department goes through utter chaos. Right? A CEO of a company changes, despite all the planning, there is super chaos. So the CEO of your life is being changed, and the one who is coming is radically different from the previous. There is a theory that your chakras get activated. The old, let's say, Ketu chakra stops and Shukra chakra starts. The word Dasha can be loosely translated to the word condition. So change in Dasha is change in condition. Change in Mahadasha is absolute, radical, grassroots level change in conditions. Your looks change, often your job changes, people change houses, at times they change towns. Okay. So the entire surrounding that you have will change. Let's say in Ketu period, Ketu आपका football बना के खेल रहा. Ketu is playing football with you, and Shukra will say, okay, I'll come and this person is going to bat beautifully now. But you have to change the scope of life from a football field to a cricket field. Okay. So you'll have to cut the grass, make the pitch, bring in the stumps, remove goalposts. That's a violent process. That's a violent process. Then there are some debts which you have paid, so those relations would simply disappear. Dasha Sandhi, lot of breakups are. Okay. And not just the romantic kind of breakups or divorces, children can break up with their parents. Okay. Or some of your friends, they just disappear. Or maybe the boss you worked for last 10 years retires. Some such thing happens. Or the company you work for 10 years, you just move out. So the old is dissolved, destroyed. So Dasha Sandhi, I call it creative destruction. The old is destroyed so that the new can be built. That is what Dasha Sandhi is. So that 9 months when Ketu impact is also there, Shukra impact is also there, they are handing over, taking over. A lot of old is being destroyed, new is being built. That's Dasha. So it's creative destruction. And your Ketu Dasha, with the Dasha Sandhi, your Ketu chakra stops and your Shukra chakra becomes activated. You will look prettier and all that. We'll talk about it.
So my question to you is, why is it so unknown? Because usually we talk a lot about Ketu, Rahu and Shani, but this particular concept of Dasha Sandhi is very unknown. बहुत कम लोगों को पता है इसके बारे में.
Yeah.
In fact, आपका जो केतु का sting था ना, it is trending on net after your article only. Ketu Mahadasha sting.
I'll be honest, I had read it somewhere, but Ketu Mahadasha pe mera article, when it went viral, it bought me whatever fame I have, maybe 70% of it. उसमें मैंने केतु स्टिंग पे अपना रिसर्च लिखा था, और मेरे खुशनसीबी कहो बदनसीबी कहो, I personally went through everything that Ketu does, and this was one of my original findings, that in Dasha Sandhi Ketu will attack the house of Shani. Nowhere it is written, it is my personal finding, it is my personal experience. Okay. So Ketu is the liberator, Shani is the bondage maker. So Shani is nowhere in the picture as such, right? Ketu is come, Venus is coming, Ketu is going. But while exiting, Ketu is going to damage the biggest prison in your chart, which is the house of Shani. So my Ketu research is more of an apbiti, been there, done that type. So very little was available. I'll agree with you on that thing. And whatever was available wasn't all that great. And I struggled in my Ketu Dasha to make a sense of things. So people, what the mistake they do is they think, boss, day zero, Shukra Dasha, I'll become very happy. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, we have a lot of preconceived notions for the next Mahadasha to take over.
Yeah, and the biggest problem is people coming out of Ketu, they expect a lot from Shukra and they expect it very fast. Shukra is a lazy planet. We'll talk about it in detail. Yes. But I think many people have not done that research. Maybe they were lucky they did not have to go through that experience. It was my Kushnasibi, Badnasibi, good luck or bad luck. I went through Shani, Mercury, Dasha Sandhi, and I went through Ketu, Shukra, Dasha Sandhi. So all that experience I had accumulated in my notes. Then I started doing interviews for my research. And after a lot of interviews, I wrote that Shani wala article, and I wrote about Shani Dasha Sandhi. So it comes from personal experience. For some reason, in a lot of books, there is very, very little about written about Dasha Sandhi. Hardly anything. So
yes. I came to know Dasha Sandhi from your article only when I was doing my personal research on Ketu Mahadasha. Yeah. That is why I was directed to you. The question, that the particular point you have said, the X factor Ketu Mahadasha has when it ends, the last thing, the final retreating gift, if I'm not wrong, the phases. Yes. It is actually in the Google search. The last thing of Ketu. Okay. I'll be honest, Ketu Sting wasn't my original finding. I had read it somewhere. But how it would act and how it would unfold, that is where I researched, and I found that that attack usually comes from the house of Shani. Ketu is the liberator. So he knows ki boss, your last and final prison is the house of Shani. At times the house of Moon. Abhi, that is work in progress. I'm working. So that sting usually comes from the house of Shani or house of Moon. And that sting is very hurtful when it hurts. Okay. But like all things, Ketu, in the long run, you thank God that sting happened. Let's say a person has a fourth house Shani. Throughout his life, he would be more or less a slave to the family and mother. Ketu, on his way out, will create some sort of conditions that do some such thing or say some such thing, that he will become disillusioned. So when it hurts like hell, but in the end you are liberated. So that's how Ketu sting works. So when it happens, you hate it, but Ketu being Ketu, 2 years down the line, you are happy that it happened. So sir, my question to you is, how long does this Dasha Sandhi last? Because Google Pay, as we had previously discussed in Ketu Mahadasha Part 2 video, there are innumerable articles. Some articles even tell us that you are supposed to take previous Mahadasha's number of years and
अरे वो पूरा
or
फिजिक्स
not.
का फार्मूला लगा दिया है यार. ओके. Actually, the experience that I have had and the interviews which I have done, some say it's 1 year. My experience says it's 9 months. Okay. And why 9 months? A new you has been born. So a new child from conception to birth takes 9 months. Both my Dasha Sandhis, I was hammered for 9 months. 10th month, I was a different animal. So in my view, it has to be 9 months. You cannot complicate it too much. I mean, that transformation is inner and outer, more inner than outer, mustard. इंसान के तेवर बदल जाते हैं. Okay, you become a different person. I'm sitting here, I have this perfume ka sheesh with me. Never in my Mercury or Ketu or Shani was I so obsessed with perfumes. So that's something which is inner, you know. I have a different perfume in my house, a different in my office, a couple of deodorants in my car. So abhi mere ko, I just want to live around places which smell good.
So you mean the Venus is activated?
Dasha lords, they transition into are sort of an antithesis of the previously existing planet, right? You take antithesis of Rahu, that is Jupiter. So bilkul opposite energy. Right? You take antithesis of Ketu, you have Shukra.
Yes.
Okay. You take antithesis of Shani, it would actually be Sun, but Mercury again is a totally different animal. We'll talk about it. So these three make people suffer. And since the coming planet is an antithesis, वो बड़ा अंदर से, it's a revolution that's happening inside you.
So, sir, how does it affect one's life according to astrology? This Dasha Sandhi.
देखो, first thing that happens, your nature changes. You become a different person. Your one chakra slowly goes down, stops, other chakra slowly starts and goes into full impact. Astrologically, देखो, Rahu Ketu do not own houses.
Yes.
So wherever they sit, a lot of song, dance and drama happens there. When Rahu Mahadasha transitions into Jupiter Mahadasha, your Jupiter wala houses become activated. Okay. One of the reasons Rahu Ketu are tough on most people is कि वो 12 के 12 खाने, at least 11 are sleeping. Right? The house of Rahu or the house of Ketu become the source of action. Or house of Ketu में source of negative action. Ketu will start to hollow out the house. Astrologically, when Shukra comes, 2 of your Shukra houses become activated. Let's say you have an Aries Lagna, आपका शादी नहीं हो रहा, Venus आया, 7th house activated, cut. Or you have a Makar Lagna, you are very desperate to run a business, Venus आया, 10th house activated. Similarly for other things. Shani has a very confining impact on almost all natives, barring Tula Lagna and Vrishab Lagna. Of course, the house of Shani matters a lot. So again, that depends. Let's say you have a Tula Lagna, you can have a good Shani Dasha, but let's say you have a Dhanu Lagna or a Singh Lagna or a Karka Lagna, Shani won't be all that fun. So Shani is difficult, but this is how things change, and it is no fun to be ruled by these three. Okay, I call them the bad boys of astrology. मेरी किताब का ये नाम. These three are unhappy planets. Shani is perpetually hustling. काम करो, काम करो, काम करो, मजदूर. The lower principle of Shani is the slave. राहु तो चैन एक पल नहीं और कोई हल नहीं, जो मिल गया और चाहिए. मेरा गिलास आधा खाली है, गिलास पूरा भर गया, अब मेरा गिलास छोटा बड़ा गिलास ला. That continuous greed and dissatisfaction. Ketu to, malang. After a point, you become like, yeah, दुनिया से दिल लगा के दुनिया से क्या मिलेगा? You become detached, disinterested. People become unemployed, divorced. Inner level in Ketu period, people can be happy. but outer world is a mess. Or Ketu doesn't let you enjoy things. You become very detached. मतलब आपको 5 आदमी लगेगा आपको उठा के किसी पार्टी क्लब या शादी में ले जाने के लिए, और आप वहां पे ऐसे बैठोगे जैसे आप किसी के मातम में आए हो. भूली भूली यादें आ गई. हाँ, ठीक. सो शनि अगेन कैन नॉट एंजॉय एनीथिंग. शनि अगर चला भी जाएगा शादी में, उसका दिमाग काम में रहेगा, भाई यार कल ये करना है, अरे वो अंकल जी मेरे जूतों के बारे में क्या सोच रहे होंगे. शनि इज इन दैट कांस्टेंट इम्प्रूवमेंट एंड अप्रूवल सीकिंग मोड. राहु को तो चैन ही नहीं है, कहीं चला जाए, मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे वो करना, आगे तरक्की करनी है, इतना मेरा होना चाहिए, मैं बहुत डिजर्व करता हूँ. राहु का पेट में. राहु महादशा, you talk to anybody. I have met 20 something old CEOs who have told me, साहब मैं ज्यादा डिजर्व करता हूँ. एंड आई एम लाइक, भाई तेरी उम्र के लड़के जो है ना, अभी यूपीएससी की तैयारी का विचार कर रहे हैं, बट मैं ज्यादा डिजर्व. बट दे ट्रांजिशन इनटू हैप्पी प्लैनेट्स. मरकरी इज अ शार्प स्मार्ट प्लैनेट. मरकरी डजंट गिव टू हूट्स. विल टॉक अबाउट. शुक्र वो अपनी जिंदगी में अलग ही मजे हैं उसके. शुक्र विल गो टू अ शादी. सबसे पहले तो बढ़िया परफ्यूम ढूंढेगा आधा घंटा, उसके बाद में बढ़िया से ड्रेस निकालेगा, फिर वो देखेगा कि सबसे कंफर्टेबल कन्वेंस कौन सी होगी, तो वहां पे जाकर के दे विल स्टार्ट टू लुक सो प्रिटी, दे अट्रैक्ट ऑल द अटेंशन, फिर बातें बढ़िया करेंगे. सो एंड जुपिटर इज बल्ले बल्ले, तो उनको तो वो तो जहां बैठे हैं बढ़िया है. So from a difficult planet, planet ruled person, you transition into a happy planet ruled person. Yeah, you become Graha root. So from a difficult, sulking, melancholic, negative planet, you transition into a happier planet. So that's how.
So, sir, we can say that according to the personal individual horoscope, we can predict how it affects one's life, right?
Yeah, but basics remain the same. Yeah?
Basics remain the same. Okay.
Basics remain the same. वो nature तो वही रहेगा ना. ठीक है. If let's say you have a second house Rahu or a 10th house Rahu, you will get a lot of growth and money in Rahu Dasha, but you will remain restless. Yeah. And even if you have an 8th house Jupiter, you will become balle balle in Jupiter. That's that. So that inner environment changes. That makes all the difference.
So, sir, do we have any sort of positive effects as well in this particular Dasha Sandhi?
The positive, negative are very subjective. Okay. Especially Dasha Sandhi is creative destruction. So often you are liberated in Dasha Sandhi. Let's say somebody has a bad spouse. केतु की दशा संधि में डिवोर्स हो गया, डिवोर्स हुआ दुख तो होगा, बट you are liberated from a difficult person. Now you can start your life once again. You are in a bad job, you lost your bad job. जब भी जाएगा दुख होगा, but then you can end up getting a good job. Similarly, I have seen after Dasha Sandhi, people end up in the right place at the right time. During Shani Rahu Ketu period, you are often at the wrong place at the wrong time. हमारे टाइम में the norm was if you don't study science, you are धरती पे बोझ. And I am a double Capricorn, Sun, Mercury in first. I have since childhood I had a mind for business, and I was pushed into medical, just like what happens to most Indian bachas. They're pushed to. I sucked at it. मेरे से मेंढक चूहे नहीं करते हैं. And then in my class 12th, I flunked in my Dasha Sandhi. People had told me कि साहब तुम्हारा तो Mercury आएगा and you will do very well. You will not struggle in studies. और मैं तो class 12 physics में fail हो गया था. But one good side effect was that my parents agreed to let me switch my stream to commerce. After 9 months, exactly 9 months, Dasha Sandhi gets over. मेरा recheck result आया, I pass. Recheck में pass, लड़का fail था ही नहीं. I went back. Family is very happy. हमें पता था हमारा बच्चा fail नहीं होगा. आप science पढ़ ले. मैंने ना. I'm never going back in a science class. But in commerce, they found that I was the most hardworking, brilliant, and bright child. Right place at the right time. But अगर वो नहीं हुआ होता, I would have been a BSc third divisioner और कहीं पे दवाइयां बेच रहा होता शायद. तो दशा संधि जिंदाबाद.
Honest pharmacy. Okay, so sir, एक और question जो है इसके related ये है कि दशा संधि is more significant than other astrological factors. Is it that way?
I wouldn't say that. I would say कि देखो महादशा अंतरदशा matters a lot. If you are going through a Ketu Shukra or a Moon Rahu, it's a very very painful period. दशा संधि में एक्शन बहुत होता है कि दशा संधि might not be a मुगले आजम but it is KGF. कि एक्शन धमाका सारा कुछ है उसमें. You might not be able to, and it's a very short period. It's 9 months. But it is life changing. Its transformation is incredible. So yes, it's very very important. Inner and outer transformation हो रहा है भाई. It's like a पुनर्जन्म.
So which are the most difficult dasha sandhis in your experience, and what are their effects on the natives?
Of course, Shani, Rahu, Ketu, but Ketu, Shukra, and Shani, Mercury are terrible. Rahu, Jupiter is not all that difficult for some reason, maybe because Jupiter is so powerful, and Jupiter is not afraid of Rahu. Okay, so Jupiter can bully himself into Rahu's territory. शनि से सारे डरते हैं और शुक्र केतु से बहुत डरता है. So, and Shani has a lot of say in the first 9 months of Mercury. Ketu has a lot of say in the first 9 months of Shukra, and these two I've studied intensively. I've lived through it. Thankfully, मुझे राहु नहीं मिलना. I'll be dead long before that. So I'm happy about it.
So these are the most difficult.
Most difficult. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So sir, what are the signs that indicate the onset of dasha sandhi?
Chaos. Number one thing is chaos. सब बदलना शुरू हो जाता है. जॉब बदल दिया, घर बदल दिया, शहर बदल दिया, है ना, एनवायरमेंट बदल दिया, नौकरी बदल दिया. The sheer quantum change that happens in your life. Okay, that's one. Second thing is a lot of mood swings. Somebody who was going through Ketu Shukra, you must have spent time. One day you are, dressed pretty well, perfume लगा के घूमने के. Second day you are sitting there with आधा किलो सरसों का तेल in your hair, and you look like a nun. है ना? So on one day you are something, one day you are something else. So a lot of mood swings, lot of energy changes. Body में पूरा वो chemical changes हो रहे हैं. So they lead to a lot of headaches, allergies. Your immunity takes a beating. ये तीन चीजें हैं. And of course, we'll talk in detail about Shani to Mercury and Ketu to Shukra Dasha Sandhi. So
Dasha sandhi can also be called as post-trauma stress disorder.
I would say it's post-trauma stress recovery. So trauma it went on for 7 years. So this is the shock treatment. I call it the shock therapy.
Shock
It's
therapy.
shocking, but it's a therapy.
So sir, how can we prepare for this shock therapy of dasha sandhi, sir?